Good morning, everybody. It's Saturday morning, and I just took the brisket out from the refrigerator from marinating. Want to get this down to room temperature a little bit so it has an even cook. You want to do that with any chunk of meat, like a large portion of beef, especially, so it can cook evenly. If the center temperature is colder than the outside temperature, it's going to take a little while for it to heat up. So I'm gonna let this sit at room temperature for a little bit while I got the fire going. Getting ready to start the fire rather. So I just started that in my charcoal canister. Got that going, and then I'm gonna get the grill up to about 250 so we can start this cook. We'll be back to show you guys that. Digital thermometer has told me that we are in range for cooking. Put it down from 245. Thermometer told me that we are ready to start cooking here. Now what I did here was I actually set up my digital thermometer on the outside. And I know some people are probably thinking, why wouldn't you just put it in the meat? Reason being is I'm gonna get this on a cook for a couple hours. I wanna say about 3 hours at 250. And then we're gonna use a method called the Texas crutch method, where I'm gonna actually wrap it in foil for the rest of the cook. So I want to get this up to about 150 internal temp. So I'm gonna go from there. Now what I need to do though is get this grill closed. You see how that fire is coming up? So that means that there's too much air going in here. So we're gonna get that closed. Start this cook. Get it going here. So on the grill right now, you gotta close the smoking chamber here. So now that's good. Now, not too much worried about this outside temp here because I have my digital thermometer set up right there on the same level of what I'm cooking. Reason being is that that's gonna give me the most accurate temperature. Sometimes the external temperature or external thermometer actually will not give you a super accurate temperature. It's normally within a variance of like 5 to 10 degrees depending on your smoker or your grill. For that much. So I use a digital one, put it right next to the meat because that's the temperature that I'm concerned about. So I want to get that back up to 250. My digital thermometer will ring off when that's up to there. And we're going to let that cook for about 3 hours. Then we're going to wrap it. So I'll show you that process as well. All right, guys. We'll see you. So I just got an alert from my digital thermometer on my phone. Let me know that my temp had dropped a little bit out of range. I had it set between 245 and 253 because it fluctuates sometime between that. So I came back out and added some more coals and wood to the fire. So we got some hickory wood in there, going with the hickory smoke today, and then also some more coals. And then what I like to do while I'm smoking meat on the grill is actually have some going in the chimney here. So as you can see here, this is my charcoal chimney. I got the coals going. I like to keep some burning. That way I can quickly just add to the fire if needed. If it's more of a just raising the temperature thing and the coals themselves haven't burnt out, you can always just either open your chute a little further, or what I've seen some people do, and I've used it myself, is that you just crack this open a little bit, and the more oxygen that gets in there, the more your fire goes up. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue to let that cook. Looks like we got a couple hours left on the initial smoke before we wrap it. We'll get that wrapped up, and then we'll get it. I'll show you guys that process when I get to that. That'll be the next time you guys will see us here. Want to give a big shout out to the guys at the Nerds Have Spoken for allowing me to do this. Thank you to my castmates. I hope you guys are enjoying this video series. The more you guys enjoy it, the more I'll keep doing it. So thank you very much, guys. Peace. Alrighty, folks, back to wrap. My timer has gone off at the 3 hour mark. So what we're gonna do now is get ready to wrap this brisket up. Now again, I told you at the beginning of this video that we're using the Texas crutch method. This method here, I prefer. I tried it about 6 years ago and it worked out pretty great. So this is the method that I'm gonna use here to wrap this brisket. So let's go ahead and get that off the grill. All right, so there's that big old brisket there. As you can see there, it's nowhere near done, but it's already developing a pretty good color. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit here so we can see that. It's developing a pretty good color, but what I wanna do is just go ahead and get that wrapped up. Now, you could use butcher paper if you like. I know there's some people who love butcher paper. What I found is it doesn't work that great for me. Maybe I just need to hone my techniques a little more. But I've used it twice and it just didn't work great for me. I got a better cook out of aluminum foil. Let me just wrap that and get it contoured to the actual brisket there. And I'm gonna put another layer over the top. Now this is what we call the 3, and in this case, it may be longer than 6, but they call it the 3-6-1 method. Because this brisket is so big, it's definitely gonna cook longer than 6 hours in this foil. This does shorten your cook time. So if you don't have a long period of time for the cook, sorry, I'm sure my camera is shaking here. You don't have a long period of time for this cook. Just wanna make sure this guy was covered up completely. If you don't have a long period of time for a cook, then this is probably your best way to get all of that smoke flavor in there, still get a great tender brisket in a shorter amount of time. So now that that's completely wrapped, I'm gonna put it in here, but the method that I'm using is a Texas Crutch 3-6-1 method. It's gonna cook for 3 hours unwrapped. In this case, I'm actually gonna smoke it for longer wrapped because it is a bigger brisket. That recipe normally calls for like a 9 or a 10 pound brisket. I got a 12/12.5 pound brisket here. And then you let it rest for an hour. So this is gonna go back in the smoker. We're gonna get this going for about 7 hours, maybe 7.5, 8, and then go from there. All right, guys, next time you see us, we'll be looking at this coming off the smoker here. All right, guys, one last thing I forgot to tell you while we just put this right back into the smoker, just finished wrapping it, put it back in the smoker. I'm actually gonna lower the temp to about 225. This is gonna ensure that I have a slow cook, but it's gonna make it super tender. So instead of doing it at 250, now that it's wrapped inside that foil, and as we know, metal holds heat, now I'm gonna get it down to about a 225 on my internal temperature. My external temperature via my digital thermometer. So I'm gonna wait for that to get back up to temp to about 225, switch my ranges down, and we're gonna let this cook for about 7 or 8 hours there. All right, we'll be back, taking that off the grill, letting it rest, and then we're gonna go into some slices. Hope you guys stick around. All right, folks, now it's time to cut into this brisket here. Knife out. All righty, oh yeah, everything is ready. All righty, so as you can see here, we got the whole brisket. It's completely cooked. It's rested for about 2 hours there. You can see it's still piping a little bit here. I had it wrapped in the aluminum foil still. We still got all of our bark on here, which is great. So let's go ahead and get this cut. So I'm gonna go ahead and separate the point from the flat. So I'm gonna cut at an angle right down here. Oh yeah, that looks good. That looks good. Just foil and stuff off the way. I'm gonna put the point right back in here. Now this is where your burnt ends come from, but we're gonna do actually the flat. So the good thing is, the thing about the flat is you actually just want to cut against the grain. So let's go ahead and get a couple slices off of that. Oh yeah, that's tender. It's just cutting right through. It's effortless too. That's what you want. It's really good. Uh-oh. We might have an issue. It's not as tender as I thought it was. So when you're, and this is probably because it's at the ends here, so I'm gonna check the middle parts, but you want it to actually bend all the way around and almost touch itself. So this part may have already cooked too fast, but we're gonna slice anyway. Let's see what we got. good though. All the juice is still in there. Let's try this piece. Oh, there we go. Now that's what I'm talking about. See how that part is just, it's almost touching. That's a tender piece of meat. It should pull right apart. Exactly. That's it. That's the cook you want. So maybe the ends just were cooked a little too fast. But it is really tender. Good flavor there too. That's what you want. All right. See that? That still got some of the point on it. I'm gonna cut that off. See how tender that is? This is just falling apart. And that's what you want when you make a brisket. That's it. It's gonna make some great burnt ends. Well guys, that's pretty much the end of this cook. I'm just gonna slice up the flat end here. I'm gonna let the point sit over to the side. I'll probably just make some more burnt ends out of that, but that's it guys. When you're making a brisket, it's slow and go. Takes all day, but it's worth it. Definitely worth it. Tender meat, slow cook, means a happy wife. All right guys, so that's it. That's pretty much the end of that cook. It cooked for about 12 hours today. Got it on there about 7 something this morning. And here it is 7:05 when we're done with this cook. Again, all I did was just rubbed it down with some mustard. We put some of my special mixture of rub that I put together with some house seasonings. Let it marinate for a few days from Wednesday to Saturday. Got that off out of the refrigerator from the cook, and then we put it right there on the smoker after we let the temperature rise to about 250. Let it cook for 3 hours in the smoker, and then we took it out and we wrapped it in aluminum foil using the Texas crutch method. And then it cooked for about 7 hours after that. Once that was done, we let it cool and rest for about 2 hours so we didn't lose the juices. Got it done here, sliced it up, separated the point from the flat, and as you can see here, this is all the flat with a little bit of point at the end, but not a lot. And the other thing that you want when you're making a brisket is a smoke ring. You can see I got a decent smoke ring here on the outside. I left a lot of fat on the top, so you can see I do have some type of smoke ring across there as well, even here at the top part of the meat. So it's not as deep as I would have wanted it to be, but nonetheless, this is still a pretty good piece of meat here. And it tastes pretty good. So yeah, we're gonna get this chopped up, get this food together and get it plated, and we're gonna have some dinner. I made some sweet potatoes, some baked sweet potatoes, and we have some green beans left over from the other night. So sauteed green beans will be going on the plate with that. And again, on behalf of the guys here at the Nerds That Spoken, we thank you so much for tuning in to these videos. If you guys want us to do more, let us know. We'll definitely continue this on. Let us know if there's some special recipe you want us to try here on the show. We're more than welcome. I mean, we're more than open to try these recipes. So if you guys got something you want to see us cook, let us know. Or if you're enjoying the series so far, I think the next thing up will probably be some smoked ribs in the smoker. But we'll see how that goes. All right guys, well thank you so much for tuning in here today as we made a Packer brisket, full brisket out in the smoker. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And on behalf of the guys here at Nerds That Spoken, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining Eric B on the Meat Sweats. Talk to you soon. Bye. Alright guys, so I know I said I wasn't going to cut this up, but I decided to cut the point as well on video because I wanted to show you how you slice a point. It's important because the meat at the point takes a different direction than the meat on the flat. So you got to cut against the grain when you want this. So I'm gonna turn it this way, the long way now, and then I'm gonna make cuts off of this as well. And as you can see here, now you can see I cut right against the grain, and you can see you can get like slices just like that as well. And that's the top part. This is what they call the fattier section here. Honestly, this is my favorite part because it's so juicy no matter what, and it's really tender. Like you can just push that. You see that? I mean, it's really, really tender. Yeah, it has a little bit of a fat. I told you I was gonna keep that fat on there, but you can chop it off if you want. Like, just clip that in off. Boom. Now it's a little leaner, but it is amazing. I really love the point part of the brisket. And again, this is where you can make your burnt ends if you like. So I'm gonna make a couple of those up as well. So I leave a little chunk. And burnt ends just are the ends of the point, cubed up, tossed around in a little barbecue sauce. And you can either saute them or you can put them like back on the grill and let them get a little heat on them as well, so you can get a little bit of caramelization going on with the barbecue sauce. But that's it, guys. Thank you very much.